right, guys. The name of my program is it's Project JFK. On the right side of history, new revelations in the JFK assassination and the forces behind his death. Obviously, I'm Casey Quillen, and you already met me. Here we go. Grave injustice. Fabricating the autopsy of President Kennedy and institutionalizing its cover-up. The Bethesda charade and autopsy shuffle. 54 years of disconnection. Official lies versus the hidden truth. Now, I do want to warn you, you're going to see bits and pieces of this autopsy up here. And if you've never seen it before, it's pretty grotesque. I was a medic in the Vietnam era war, and I was one of the guys that could sit through an autopsy and eat a sandwich. Kind of an Iron Corps gut, if you would. And I didn't mind doing that. But at the same time, you're going to see some things up here, so I just want to prepare you for it. Okay? Brian Enders and I wrote the book, Beyond the Fence Line. Beyond the Fence Line is the eyewitness account of Ed Hoffman in the murder of President Kennedy. What is so unique about this is that Ed Hoffman is a deaf mute. And we had to have people interpret for us. The purpose of this presentation is to provide sensible and intelligent answers of who participated in the immediate cover-up of the murder of President Kennedy and why. It will clarify and interpret some of the newly released information from the JFK Act, the Assassination Records and Review Board, and the Air Force One audio tapes recorded on November 22nd, 1963. It will illustrate and explore some of the independent research from authors who have tried to unravel this 54-year-old homicide. This program was researched through these books. My primary sources of Warren Commission testimony and the exhibits, written FBI, New Orleans, and Dallas police reports, and written statements from witnesses and eyewitnesses, and at least 750 books on related articles. This presentation will focus on the remarkable scientific research of these authorities and their quest to establish the truth behind the assassination and military medical cover-up of President John F. Kennedy. David Lifton and Doug Horn are going to bring out. The interpretation of Air Force One tapes, the Clifton version, which was recorded on the flight from Dallas, the murder of President Kennedy, and JFK, A President Betrayed. I recommend this film. It's narrated by Morgan Freeman. Has anybody here seen that film? If you get a chance to see it, look at it. They touched very heavily on national security. As an American citizen, I had the opportunity to grow up in a remarkable democratic country, the land of the free and the home of the brave, the United States of America. These phrases are not fairy tales. For the past 50 years, I elected to research the murder of President Kennedy. I have read more than 1,260 books, files, and documents, and interviewed over 80 eyewitnesses to this historic tragedy. As a high school social studies teacher and an adjunct professor in criminal justice, I created educational disciplines to implement this study and research into my daily lesson plans for the past 40 years. Why? Simple. The one thing missing in our government's explanation about the assassination of President Kennedy is the truth. I have been called a lot of names during my research. Let's make one thing perfectly clear. I am a conspiracy realist. Most conspiracy realists start out as conspiracy theorists, which the CIA recycled as a derogatory title used to dismiss critical thinkers. All histories are loaded with conspiracies. Every war has 1,000 conspiracies, and the first casualty of any conflict is the truth. The program you are about to see is based on truth. It will sometimes be sprinkled with historical speculation in order to help fill in the blanks. Over the past 54 years, our federal government, the state of Texas, the state of Florida, the state of Louisiana, the state of New York, the state of California, the state of Ohio, the Dallas Police Department, the Dallas Sheriff's Office, the Texas Rangers, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Office of Naval Intelligence, the National Security Agency, the National Photographic Interpretation Center, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the United States State Department, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Department of Navy, the Department of Army, the United States Marines, the United States Air Force, and the entire Department of Defense and NATO have elected not to present any and all information vital to solving the murder of President Kennedy. Why? The answer? National security.